Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. For the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews, press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, this is Otaku Movie Anatomy, breaking down and reviewing some of the best and worst in the animated film genre. Is its power level over 9,000, or is it just another Yamcha? Find out now on Otaku Movie Anatomy!
Oh, man. Play that song. Let's do it. This is how you open a show right there.
Feeling hype?
Yes.
You feeling hype?
Yeah.
8-bit boogie.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone to another Otaku Movie Anatomy.
That's right, you guys. Welcome to Otaku Movie Anatomy. We're going to be talking about, well, the original animated film Street Fighter 2. Obviously, with the video game Street Fighter 5 coming out, it only makes sense.
Yes, definitely. Let's avoid all the other movies that are more recent and just go to 2, the one that we know.
But listen, guys, this is a classic.
Oh, absolutely.
Like as far as fighting game anime movies go, like this is what started it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's quintessential.
Oh, absolutely.
Fighting movie.
And it's the truth. We'll get more into that, obviously.
Yeah.
But first off, everyone, my name is Jonathan Messa. You can find me at KaibaCat, and that's on all the social media things, at KaibaCat. Man.
And I'm Maxwell Song, and you can find me at Super Attack You.
Super attack. That's true.
Well, yeah, it's
That is
Super
a good-
Otaku,
No,
but
that's
Super
a
Attack
good way to explain it. Hi, everybody. I'm Emma Fife. You can follow me all over the internet at Emma Fife.
And
All
don't
over-
say anything yet
all over
because
the internet.
today we have a special guest and we are so excited. I'm so excited to announce a special guest. You have recognized his voice all over the place. Heck, I've even saw that you were on a kids show that my kids were watching recently. Thunder and the House of Magic. Thunder and the House of Magic.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
But also you could hear him as Gohan, and of course he's here because in the video game Street Fighter 5, he is, well, in all Street Fighters, you are
Yeah, for a
Ryu
long time.
himself. Ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Kyle Bear.
Hadouken! Hello, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Hey, so we got you. Where can we find you, Kyle?
You can find me at Kyle Bear right now on the Twitterverse, as it were. Yes, I have
Simple.
tweeted you loud and proud across the social media netscapes, and I'm very, very proud and honored to be here. Yes. Why
That's
like
so
Mr.
classy.
Howl all of a sudden?
So classy.
Lovey.
I really like that the Street Fighter music is
Yeah.
still playing right now.
Let's just keep on playing that throughout the whole thing.
It really adds to this sense of urgency about
Yeah.
talking about this film.
We have to go fight everyone right now. That's how I feel.
Well, then let's do it. All right,
Let's
guys.
do it.
Look, I'm gonna get away. I'm gonna get into the wait a minute. First thing we have to do, actually, Kyle.
Yes.
What the heck is going on with you, my friend?
What the heck is
What
going
the heck
on
is
with
going
me?
on with you? You've got a big release recently.
Yeah. Well, the biggest release, of course, of probably my career right now is Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
I have it coming out, and we don't normally get copies of games that we work on, so I plunked down the extra change to get the collector's edition that
course,
comes with a
right.
really sweet art book, and of course the big Ryu statue. Expertly detailed, and it is beautiful. And I've plunked in the game, and I'm immediately terrible at it, as I am all video games. Button mash. Look, I'm awesome. I'm awful.
I really want to just get all of you guys together and do a Twitch stream of each of you playing your own characters.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because that's what I do. I play with myself all the time.
You've heard it here first.
Do you use the voice is the question.
Do I do the voice? Well, I only play with friends online, but sometimes they have their friends come over. It's like, dude, I got the voice for you. It's like, you do not. And they put on the headphones, like, the answer lies in the heart of battle. And they, and they squeal, and they do the Kermit flail. Like,
My gosh. Will you give us a Hadouken? Will you do it?
oh yeah.
Here we go.
Hadouken!
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
beautiful.
here's my
I
question
already
for
feel
you.
salty.
I this is jumping ahead of ourselves a little
No,
bit because
no,
I know
whoa,
Jonathan
whoa.
that you watched the dub, and I remember growing up, and I can't even remember in that live action Street Fighter movie, the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
My favorite
Yeah.
movie
Classic.
ever in the existence
Wow.
of all time.
Because I feel like when we were first, being introduced to Street Fighter as kids, and that was sort of more early on in terms of like the kind of stuff that we were getting imported from Japan, I know that 98% of my friends called the character of Ryu.
Yes.
Did they call him Ryu in the Street Fighter
You know
movie?
what? I'm thinking I can't 100% confirm that, but I know I always call him Ryu, and
they
it was
call him
actually
Ryu.
but it should be Ryu. And
It is.
or when we were here and we were in the
they call him
kitchen
Ryu.
area, I said Ryu,
Yeah.
and Kyle was like, "Oh, Ryu," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot."
Yeah, see, that's the deal. I go in to record for the game Street Fighter 4. What was
Right.
that? 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And they say we want to get a dedicated English dub, a dedicated English cast. I'm like, oh yeah, job security.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Nice.
And it's like, hey, whatever it's pronounced, I'll say it. It's
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah.
it's not Ryu. I think Ryu is what they called him on the Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
And I'm
definitely
like,
what they
wow, how did this get approved if they say it's Ryu? Oh, okay, all right. So Ryu, tomato. Sometimes I meet fans at the convention scene. They're like, I love your Ryu, man. And I'm just like,
Cool.
thank you, thank you.
All right.
You're Kyle Herbert. I'm like, yeah, I'm Kyle Herbert. That's me.
Oh, that is true. There we go. That's another thing that you'll learn. It is spelled Hebert, but it's Kyle. Hey bear.
A bear. The H is silent, so think like
that
a
makes
bear
sense.
is attacking Leo DiCaprio. Yes. Total revenue.
I was going to say,
He's gonna win the Oscar this time.
so
I swear.
in the chat, Garuda Smash says that they did pronounce it Ryu in the movie, except for Jean-Claude Van Damme, who said Ryu.
He said
But then
Ryu.
again, he
was
didn't
the only
pronounce
one.
many things right. So I mean, at least he got one right.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Oh my gosh. By the way, they did make a game. If you guys, since we are talking video games a little bit with Street Fighter V, they did make a movie video
Yes,
game.
I knew
And it's
that.
absolute garbage.
Sure.
It's terrible.
But to be fair, they made it.
They did.
So that, I mean, good for them. They went to a logical conclusion of, you know what, we really need a movie version of the game movie, and let's make it right now. And
Oh
they
my
made
gosh.
it, and that was some gumption. I have to
It's
say.
true.
A movie version game of the game movie should have
Yeah.
imploded. Like
Yeah.
it should have just imploded upon
You
itself.
put it in and just black hole.
Yeah, the
All right.
inception level is just mind-boggling. Point.
All right, well, we'll give you a little information on this movie. Street Fighter 2 has, has created the whole genre for video game movies, which we talked about. It came out in 1994. That was a release in Japan, the UK, and of course the United States. There was some contention with this movie because 3 minutes were edited out when it came to the United States, and predominantly it was a scene with Chun-Li, and it's a shower scene.
So that scene is really long in the Japanese
It's
version.
really long.
Yeah,
And it doesn't even do anything. She's not like really moving. It's just like these series of slow pans, but like the slowest that you could possibly make an animation go.
But nothing wrong with some Chun-Li side boob from
Side
behind
boob
the shower
and some butts.
thing. I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
we got the boobs and butts.
full on like front boobs too,
Yes,
with
yeah.
nipples, which I thought was reserved for hentai.
No. Back in those days, they were a lot okay with like cartoon boobies. They're like, oh, they're cartoons, whatever, it's fine.
Go 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the American cut didn't have that, and the Japanese cut did. So this was sort of like the contention of what happened. In 2006, they released another cut of it, which was supposed to be the uncut, uncensored version. So they released that to the American public, but it was only in Japanese, with the American cut also in it in 2006. However, the only place you could find the real film is, which we saw, is in Japan or Australia. The Aussies took the real version.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
had heard that it had like
Thank you,
a
Aussies.
legit release in Australia where they didn't
Yes.
censor anything.
The
That's
Australians
very
wanted the real
interesting.
deal. They wanted the boob. They wanted the full-on Chun-Li boob.
Good for them. I'm glad that they're just like not uncomfortable. They're like, oh, this is art. This is
See, that's
adds
strange.
the story.
I had heard a lot of shows get censored massively in Australia. Like I was a big Farscape fan in the 90s and early 2000s. I heard about, and they
Right.
shot it in Australia, but it was edited heavily.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, but why? I don't understand the censorship issue.
Was this like a changeover that happened? So was that? I mean, in '94, maybe they were really, really loose, and then they were like, "No, we've
Let's
gone
pull
too
back.
far.
No,
We've
we've
gone
seen
too
Chun-Li
far."
movies.
Look at our
No.
history.
Oh man, so
Pure
you guys,
depravity.
you guys could have seen it on Netflix in 2008 to 2015, and now you can't find it there either. So really, this is going to be it's hard for you to find it unless you want to go searching for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a Google search, and
Yeah.
But
not
yeah,
that hard to find.
but it's fantastic. You could find it in Spanish really easy, and that's my little brief history. That's my little brief
In
history.
the beginning,
on
they don't
movie.
say anything, so even if there is the Spanish part, you don't even really know until like 10 minutes in.
I'm gonna go on a limb here actually and say honestly, you could probably watch this movie in a language that is not your own and still basically understand what's
It's
going
pretty
on.
easy to figure out. Except that there's some scenes that if you don't know what they're doing, like out of context, you'd be like, huh, that's a little romantic. I'll get into it. I'm sorry, that's
We'll get
totally
it out of context.
but
That's
we'll
gonna
get
come.
to it.
All right,
It's a little tidbit.
And a little breakdown of the film is that Shadow Lu, M. Bison, and obviously, which we will get into the names of things. In Japan, the names are switched up a little bit.
Actually, and as I was doing some research today, it's like way more confusing than you even imagine. Like basically all of the bad guys, they just like swapped their names.
Yes.
Well, because M. Bison, which we know as Balrog in America, is actually supposed to be based off of Mike Tyson.
Yes.
And so when he came into America, they're like, oh, we can't do this. We can't make. I mean, in the movie, he looks goofy as hell.
Yeah.
Like not.
He looks like he's taking a few blows to the head.
Yeah, like way too many. Like
you seriously, he's like eyes crossed.
And
like,
this character
so
was created long before Mike Tyson ever bit anybody's ear off.
Or PC culture, apparently. But basically, they brought it to America and they're like, we can't have this. So M. Bison becomes Vega.
Right.
And then Vega, for some reason, becomes
Balrog.
Balrog.
Yeah, Balrog is
Vega in the US.
Oh my god, this is already confusing.
It's so confusing.
So this is what we're going to do for the sake of this. We are going to call them by their American names.
Indeed.
Yeah. So M. Bison is the M. Bison we know, Balrog is the boxer, and Vega will be the claw. You know what I mean? So that's the claw. That's how I'm going to break it down. So that's how we're going to do this for the rest of this episode.
Good.
Because it gets a little confusing. So basically, Shadow Lu is trying to kidnap a bunch of all the greatest fighters in the land so they can make them assassins. And then they go after Ryu because he's sort of the one who has the most potential. Ryu, who has the most potential. And then
Because his power level is over 3,000.
It's actually like 3,600 and like 22.
Yeah, so something random.
And so that's sort of the premise of the movie is that Shadow Lu is going after all of these great street fighters so they can take them, corrupt them, brainwash them, make them assassins, and then they kill off people in high political positions.
Yes.
That's the basis of what we're dealing with.
And take over the world with like 5 people.
Yes. And that's essentially it. So that's
about it.
Yeah. So let's go on from there.
Man, I honestly, it's such a long movie. I really felt like there was more.
No.
And there isn't.
No,
There totally is not.
There's very long fight scenes. So basically, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, is kind of what set the precedent for all, like, anime movies based on fighting games to follow, which is something that I started to realize. So, okay, basically, when I was a kid, and I was first really getting into anime, this was probably around like 95 to 2000. And one of the main things, so I feel like at some point they showed this on Saturday Anime on Sci-Fi. I might be crazy.
I'm not sure.
But
I want to say it was on like just random cable television.
Yeah, exactly.
This was it was huge film. It was such a huge film, and gosh, and I swear it was on TV as well because it was part of my
pretty sure I saw it
VHS
on TV
collection.
too.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, but one of the things that they would show like on those random cable networks or that were available to rent at Blockbuster were these anime movies that were based on fighting games.
And it's also great because that's back in the day when like, you know, anime has always been pretty mature, especially in the 90s, like probably way more now. But like, the fact is, your parents never knew. They just saw the cover and they're like, it's a cartoon for kids. And then you watch it and you're like, the world is much bigger than my 10-year-old mind had ever imagined.
It's true.
You know?
I gotta say, I'm having a nostalgia bomb right now. Because remembering going into Suncoast Motion Picture Company and seeing the anime
Suncoast
section, and then DVD comes out, and then like Battle Arena Toshinden,
Yes!
Fatal Fury,
Yes!
the first big fighting game anime movies, and it was like,
Exactly.
this looks awesome. I never bought, so I didn't know. But I do remember seeing them.
Oh, I definitely either owned or saw all of them, and it was so funny revisiting this movie again, going, this is where the plot of all the other ones came from.
There you go. Yep.
So basically, all of them, they contain some very, I hesitate to even call them themes. They're really just tropes.
Yeah.
So basically, pretty much all of these fighting animes center around the big bad crime syndicate. Of course, in this case, it is Shadow Lu, or
especially Street Fighter.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Also, the live action movie, from what I thought or what I researched, it came out before this movie. I believe.
Yes,
the live
I believe
action
that
came
you're
out
right. Yeah.
before.
Did it really?
Yeah. So the whole thing of the live action movie was basically this plot.
Huh.
Yeah, because what they do is they have these street fighting
Yeah,
tournaments
yeah.
in which they find the best warriors so that Shadow Lu can, like, you know, take over the world because M. Bison's a dick. So, you know, like...
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It looks to me like they were concurrent. They were both released in 1994.
Yeah, they were.
so
It was in the
weird.
same year.
So interesting.
This one was in August. I'm not sure when the live film was.
Let us
Okay,
see.
we're gonna look this
We're
up.
looking it
Google,
up.
Google.
I got it. Okay.
Release date.
1994.
Scroll.
Release date December.
Hey!
Animated film first.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, so basically it's a big bad crime syndicate, and the other thing that's really common, just in fighting games in general, is like sort of dodgy political connections where it's like basically a lot of the fighters a lot of the time are members of like bigger organizations.
Yeah, like Interpol.
Interpol and
or-
like the U.S. military in the case of Guile.
That's a good call.
And Cammy's supposed to be an MI6 agent. Like
yeah.
she's like working with James Bond on the weekends.
That's true. Yeah.
Because that's how secret agents dress.
Yeah,
You know?
all the time.
Leotard, leggings, that's all.
Yeah, and as Jonathan referenced, the main sort of premise of this is, we're gonna track down all these great fighters and turn them into assassins. So basically, in all of these films based on fighting games, it's either we're hunting down people to make them assassins, or we're hunting them down to kill them. Like what was supposed to have happened between I was really into Tekken as a kid, and what was supposed to have happened between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 was like the oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank.
Well, it's good because it's Tekken. That movie sucked.
Listen,
Terrible.
no, but this other force was like hunting down all the fighters who'd been
Yeah,
involved
and they're on
in
the island
Yeah, in the Mishima fighting tournament in past. So basically, yeah, it's either
I feel like
always
I watched that movie but got nothing from it.
fighting. It's always a fighting tournament. We're hunting down people either to brainwash them and make them ours, or to murder them.
I would say a fighting tournament makes sense for a fighting game.
I know. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but there was no tournament in this one. They just
There was a tournament in this movie because technically everyone was fighting in this street fight tournament, which had no real organization
That is
at
true,
all.
no.
They're just
Now-
all these guys that are just like, all right, we have a system here.
Yeah.
It was just for money. Like
Yeah.
that, and that was
Money.
something you got to see in this film was that there was no. You're right. There was not an organization. It was just understood that there were fight clubs everywhere.
Yeah.
And these two
Like
guys are going to
street
go at
money.
it, and you throw money at it, and that's it.
well because
It's a prize.
basically the idea behind it, the idea behind doing this format is let's get as many characters from the
Yes.
video game in this
Yes.
movie as humanly possible.
And then tying in politics to it
Yeah.
seems like it's like, hey, let's make this elevate to a different demographic.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, this is not just it's just this heathen fighting thing. Oh, it's so much more broad. Think about the world agenda, world peace, all that sort of thing.
had
M.
levels.
Bison,
This
M.
has
Bison
levels.
is like the most dramatic bad guy ever. He has
really
the
is.
cape. He has like the super Nazi hideout. And also, he
Dude.
refers to himself in the third person constantly.
Dude.
He just is like, you should be one of M. Bison's warriors.
Yes.
It's like
M. Bison
it's
is
like
full
one-on-one
on
conversation.
badass.
Oh,
like,
yeah, he
and
is.
he has that like torn up cape and everything. Like M. Bison, I feel like is what like Batman could have become. Like M. Bison is so awesome. Like for a human
He's
being.
basically Dr. Doom
He's
without a mask.
yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. He's
With a
Dr.
more
Doom.
powerful
Perfect.
chin.
Yeah.
He is
Comparison.
he's scary. The voice both in Japanese and in English were awesome and like powerful and off. I mean, just terrifying. He took on Ryu and Ken and just beat the crap out of both of them. Yeah,
And then
awesome.
to get revenge, basically he tries to run Ryu over with
With
the
a
sound.
Are we already at that point?
That's
Okay.
at the end of the movie.
Okay.
That's at
Are
the
we going to
end.
jump there?
I
Are we
didn't-
doing it?
I thought we already went through the. Okay.
No, but just to touch on a couple of other things. So basically,
We're
in
gonna
all
make
of
a
these,
point of that.
In
Oh,
all of these
definitely.
films, there's always basically like one true champion, and of course, in the case of Street Fighter, it's Ryu,
course.
because of his absurd amount of fighting potential.
Yes.
It's
Potential.
because
But-
he is the most warrior guy
Yeah.
in like the trope history of warriors. Like
Yeah.
he's a loner. He just climbs mountains with
Right.
his bare hands
Yeah.
because he can.
Sure.
And just like wanders around with
Yeah.
that. Ignores his friends. What a dick.
Hey, he's what Sam Jackson wanted to do at the end of Pulp Fiction. He said he's just going to wander the earth like the kung fu, like David
But at the-
Carradine.
That's right. That's exactly.
But at the same time,
he's
it's
a
like,
shepherd.
because he is such a loner. He's like uncorruptible. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like even if M. Bison had gotten his hands on him, I don't think he would have been able to brainwash him.
No.
And of course, as we see in Street Fighter, there's a certain amount of rivalry between Ryu and Ken at the heart.
You wrote it
of
best
this.
in this note. There's a straight up bromance.
It
There's
is.
a bromance.
There is a
What's
bromance.
what's the deal with that, Kyle?
Hey, am I supposed to know this?
No,
I'm just a voice actor.
Exactly, and we ship it. That's
Well,
fine.
like between Ryu, I mean, did Ryu and Ken, did they ever give you some background around on on
They
the
did
love?
not. They never suggested that there was that. It was just that friendly rivalry, sort of frenemy sort of thing. I never heard the term bromance tacked on to the description.
Bromance
It's
is like
bromancy.
okay. So
It's
as I was
bromancy.
mentioning before, without any context, if you just saw this scene,
Yeah.
you would think that they're about to like make love. Like, I kid you not. And the Japanese version, because it was in 1994, it had that aesthetic of 1994, kind of.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more 80s, but everything was smooth jazz. Like, whenever
Oh,
they're
the
fighting,
music?
the
Oh my
music,
God.
it's smooth
Okay.
jazz. Whenever it's a dramatic part,
I'm going to
it's
stop
smooth
you real
jazz.
quick. That is not smooth jazz. That is straight up porn music.
Fair.
If you listen to the music in the Japanese version of this movie, it is softcore porn.
Wait, did they change the music in the American
Yes.
one? Okay, so people in the chat are wondering which version of the movie we watched. So basically,
Okay.
for everyone who's watching, who's just tuning in now, we touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the movie.
get into it in a little
that
more,
some
in a
of
little
us watched it in Japanese and some of us watched it in English, and it was, of course, the Manga Entertainment release of the film. So yes.
So in a little while, when we're done with this section, we'll talk about
Yeah.
the differences between the American version and the Japanese version, because there are some really massive ones, and the biggest one is this music, is the porn music that you're
It
going to be
really
listening to
does
when you're
make
hearing
a
this.
huge difference. So
Yeah.
basically, that's what I meant by no context. And it's like a whole thing. You see like a sepia tone. You see like the little floaty things. Like it's like in shoujo when when two people are about to kiss.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
that is
in this.
happening. No, I definitely sensed that there was a love story between Ken and Ryu at the
It's
heart
like
of this
they're
movie.
rivals.
Yeah,
But they're more than rivals.
And this is the biggest key into their bromance. It's that. So as you all know from playing the games, Ken's story is he gets married to Eliza.
Yeah.
Ryu and Ken, when they're going into Ken's mind, and you're seeing what's in Ken's brain, what's inside of Ken's mind. You see Eliza once, and then Ryu 500 times. It's like, I love Eliza. Ryu.
It's this whole flashback of where they're battling each other,
Yeah.
and Ryu gets hurt, and so that's why he has the band around his head.
It doesn't do anything.
No.
It's not like he tries to wipe off the
No.
blood. He just puts it over his
Ken
forehead.
just ties this band around his
so-
head.
This is how Ryu gets the headband.
Yeah,
He gets
they
cut,
explain it in the
and
movie.
then Ken shows some love.
And Ken takes it off of his long, luxurious hair. Now, mind you, because it's like the old school when his hair is down to his
Super long.
waist.
It's if
like
you guys
a
are
little
game
ribbon
players,
tie.
it's the Alpha series,
Yeah.
right? Ryu and Ken,
Yeah.
it's the Alpha
Yeah.
series.
My God, if only I had this much backstory when I go in to record.
Exactly. This is going to completely change your performance
Next
of Ryu
time,
for
you
Street
should-
Fighter
It just
6.
might.
You should ask about the relationship. It's like, so what's their relationship? It's like rivals, but what is their relationship?
Do I end every line with wink? Something like,
Is there some sort of tension here?
I love it. I love
well,
it.
and then when you add porn music in the back,
It
that
doesn't
sexual
help. It
tension,
really doesn't.
It becomes very palpable.
Yeah, bad guys in video game series often have brainwashing abilities. You often have characters suffering from amnesia and or terrible brainwashing.
Or
In M. Bison's case, psycho powers.
Psycho powers, that's right. Yeah, so he
Indeed.
uses his psycho powers. So apparently Cammy in the beginning of the movie is supposed to be under mind control also. She's not actually a bad guy.
No, she's brainwashed. Yeah, Cammy's usually a good
and
guy.
Ken and Ken gets brainwashed and gets crazy eyes and a luxurious cloak.
And then for some reason he
There
gets
he is.
really skinny
There
for
he
some
is.
reason.
I know, his
Just
face gets
loses
so
20
gone.
pounds in the psycho machine.
Yeah.
And
I love the psycho machine.
and of course, a good chunk of the characters in the film always have, or in the story of the fighting game have. I feel like it's usually about 50-50 in terms of characters who have a personal connection to the big bad guy versus characters that just want to make a difference in the world or just want to win the money from the fighting tournament.
Or
so,
the ones who are just thrown in, Blanca and Zangief.
Totally.
They're just there for entertainment.
Yeah.
fan service. I mean, you really
True.
gotta just get that in. Where's that? Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's like, how do we
know.
make Blanca a thing? It's like, put him in a cage and put him in Las Vegas. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Get
Right.
that.
You know
that's
what
the
was-
only place
They did that
Blanca
to
could
King
possibly
Kong.
be. Basically.
What was super weird to me though was that E Honda should have been just a fan service character, but he ends up being part of the plot randomly.
Yeah, he is at the end is like Ryu's like life partner.
I know.
They live in a little cozy shack on top of a mountain
Yes.
that Ryu can only get up with like literally climbing up with his bare hands.
It's
And
like a hetero life partner like Jay and Silent Bob, right?
Yeah. That's
Sure.
what they are. They're hetero life partners. Is one of the lines that because what happens is because of Ryu's presence, while E Honda is fighting Dulcim, Dulcim can't fight because he senses this powerful presence, which is Ryu. So he gives up the fight, and E Honda wins money. So E Honda finds Ryu and gives him half the money. And he's like, this belongs to you. It's half of it's yours.
Well, that's
And
because
now-
he saved a bunch of people when Shadaloo assassin tries to kill everybody or whatever.
But
That's true.
and in the American version, the line is changed a little bit, and I love what they changed it to. Which they really whoever took the script and English eyes maybe whatever translated
wrote the
it.
APR script for
Whoever
it, yeah.
translated it
Culturally
really did a beautiful
sounded.
job making all the lines really fit the American culture. And one of the things he says to Ryu is he says, half of this is yours, and he goes, because we're brothers. And I was like, all right, because they're both Japanese.
Basically the same thing is they're just like because we're Japanese and we gotta look out for each other.
Yep.
Was
Yeah.
basically
Yep.
the sub.
Really nice.
And then, of course, everybody's favorite moment in every movie
it
based on
comes.
a fighting game that is an anime
it
is the
comes.
shower scene. In literally every fighting game anime,
was George
randomly has a scene where a girl is in the shower. So for this one, it was Chun-Li. In Battle Arena Toshinden, it's Sophia. In
Fatal Fury, it's Mai.
in Tekken, it's Anna Williams. Yeah, Fatal Fury. Why? Just why?
Because
Kyle
sex
said
sells.
it. Kyle said it. Fan
Yeah.
service.
But
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
think that they would get more creative with their fan service.
No.
They just-
Have you seen fan service and what it's evolved
Yeah,
into?
it's true.
There's no subtlety
No,
involved.
but this is I'm not even saying subtlety, just like
Creativity.
creativity.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess
always
I
a
could say it's
shower.
kind of creative.
it is. It's always a shower. There's not always a fight after the shower though, and even though like the fan service continued into the battle after the shower, like
Oh yeah.
I still appreciated that Chun-Li totally kicked Vega's butt.
Oh yeah,
totally.
The best fight scene in the movie is that one.
I agree.
Chun-Li versus Balrog fight is just the most
Vega.
Oh, sorry, Vega fight is the most ridiculous I've ever seen.
I also want, because for me, like going into this, so I was more into fighting games that were not Street Fighter, especially like after Street Fighter 2. So I feel like I haven't really like kept up with Street Fighter lore, but I did have vivid memories of Vega being like a real like Bishonen, like a real like pretty boy type.
Oh yeah.
And I want to say it's because of this movie that image sticks in my head because of when he takes his mask off and then Chun-Li like punches him in the face, and it's so sad.
The note that I wrote
pretty
was
fantastic.
how dare you make me bleed my own blood? That's the face he has. He's like, I'm gonna kill you now.
so
How
true.
dare you tarnish my beautiful face?
It is so true. But that's a great fight scene. And then, like I said, like E Honda like randomly becomes part of the main plot.
Yeah.
So that when they go and confront, well, first of all, actually, M. Bison like comes to confront them at E Honda's house on the cliff top.
They find them, like everyone finds him. Like Guile and Chun-Li Chun-Li at this point has kicked Vega out like through a wall.
She literally kicks him through a wall.
Through a wall. Like he kicks him so
And he like
much.
falls to his death apparently.
Or something.
Yeah.
And so they're
Maybe.
just yeah, we don't know. So after that, they all find him. Guile is now trying to find Ryu because he
Right.
thinks that's the only way to get to Shadaloo.
Right.
And then Bison, for some convenient timing, literally Guile comes, and then him in his VTOL.
Well, because he was following them. He was following Guile. Yeah.
I guess. And so they like all meet up in the same place, and so this huge battle happens.
Ensues,
And Balrog, the scene that you see Balrog introduced fighting E Honda, his eyeballs are going all over the place.
Yeah.
I kid you not. That is the best you're going to get. Literally,
And
his
look,
eyes
the
are
eyes
like
are in different
googly
directions.
eyes.
That's insane.
Googly eyes. Yeah, he is
Crazy.
like mentally retarded.
You see my friend here? He's got the eyes. He's got the googly eyes.
I have some answers on the ADR script. According to Jeff and Ashura in the chat, apparently Mary Claypool did all of the ADR script writing.
Thank you very
It was
much.
so good.
Thank you,
And the remastered version of it is on its way, and some people got to see it at ALA. I was not one of them, even though I was there. ALA, what the heck?
Dude,
Don't know if
you were the
ALA
only-
is watching.
You were the only one on the panel that was at ALA, right? I think you were there.
I had a panel at
okay.
ALA, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
I was
did.
there too. Shout
man,
out to
Yes.
Mary Claypool and her husband Les.
Yeah.
Hey.
We're doing the great sound mix on
Yeah,
that.
really good. Really good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I
The
could jump
sound
into
mix,
it. You got one more team.
Oh yeah, I
work.
was just gonna say like, and then, yeah, that's the thing is that I feel like in all of these things, it's always about like, you know, the good guys, even though like they were fighting each other as part of this tournament, like they put aside their differences and team up and win the day. It wasn't as much in this as it is in like Battle Arena Toshinden, where like randomly every single character is just like there and they're like, all right, Chaos, we're taking you down. We haven't interacted at all throughout this whole movie, but here we are and we're gonna do it.
But that's basically like Sailor Moon. All the Sailor Scouts come together. We all like power up this one thing. You
Friendship.
know?
Yeah.
At least this one was just like it's a Ryu.
Yeah, this
and
one
Ken.
it was like okay, thank goodness Guile and
Guile was useless.
and E Honda are here to like take care of the side characters, and Ken and Ryu get
Except
together
for E Honda and Balrog's fight though is hilarious because
it's so
basically
funny.
they hit each other and they roll off a cliff. I
That's
kid
it.
you not. That is their whole fight.
And
Man.
that's
I want to play that. Yeah. I want to roll off a cliff.
That's all it was.
That's it.
Is You hug and you roll off a cliff.
it really is. I mean, it's like you see each other, line, effort, and
And
then
it's
as you roll off the cliff. Yes. But this is what it was one of the greatest changes in the script from Japanese to English is that line when they're rolling off a cliff. In Japanese they go no, and in English they go oh shit. It's just fantastic. This English script is so much better than the Japanese. She really just captured the essence of like talking in English while in the midst of like these worldly odd characters.
I love that.
And
what would E Honda say if he was rolling off a cliff with another man?
Oh shit! And
Accurate.
But everyone, and I give props to the voice actors on this one. Like they all embodied the characters because the Japanese were much more stoic and they delivered the characters much straighter. Whereas the Americans played with them. Vega sounded much more like evil and licking the blood.
Metrosexual.
Metro and like really had all these wonderful elements in play. And what I wrote here is color. Like the Americans had a lot more color to the textures to the characters, where the Japanese were much more stoic.
Yeah, I would have to say overall the tone of this movie, it's like I think the fight scenes are great. The animation is wonderful.
Yeah, it really is.
But it drags. This is like it's a movie about going all over the world to fight these like interesting cultural stereotypes. And it's boring.
One of the biggest things that drags about this film is long establishing shots.
Yeah.
So like they will like as opposed to a long establishing shot of Ryu on a mountain, it's like pan of the mountain, longer pan of the mountain, pan of the mountain this way, pan of the mountain with Ryu in distance, pan up and pan like zoom in closer to him, and then we're at the scene. I was like, we just
If
wasted.
you chopped it all out, would you basically just have a 22-minute episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chop out all
That's
the-
the 22-minute
But
episode.
They also have the animated series, so maybe
That's
they're
true.
holding out for that.
Yeah, and
that's true.
I want to give props. This is two things. The voice of Chun-Li, fantastic. Aaliyah Sargent was the voice of Chun-Li.
Nice,
And
nice.
she knocked it out of the park. If you guys need to go online, watch the fight between Vega and Chun-Li in English. It's incredible. It's the best scene of the film. Her efforts and screams are so visceral and powerful in that scene. You will love watching that in English. And also the music underneath that is like a Marilyn Manson. Actually, some of the bands they have, some of the music in the American version is Korn, Alice in Chains, and Silverchair.
Jesus.
Like it's hardcore fun, like rock metal.
Man.
And the other thing that I
That's
have
quite
here
the budget.
that I discovered from the English version, and it's on IMDb. The voice of Fei Long is Bryan fucking Cranston.
Oh, I knew that actually.
Oh my god!
It's Bryan fucking
That
Cranston.
is the best
Heisenberg.
argument to watch
Heisenberg
the dub
is
of
the
this.
voice of Fei Long.
Oh man.
I had to
know-
put an
I
F-bomb
know-
on there for that.
I know he did a lot of weird shit, like before he got Malcolm in the Middle and got like super famous and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I heard he was on the Macross dub, and I
Yeah,
did not know
Macross.
about
Like a lot of
this. This
anime.
is that's wild.
Bryan Cranston is Fei Long.
That is amazing.
There you go.
Incredible.
There you go.
Mic
Cranston.
drop.
I love
Always
it.
my
I
hero.
love it. I love
Every
it.
facet of my life.
Yeah, so I would suggest, much like Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Street Fighter 2, watch it in English. Watch the dub.
I'm sold.
Done.
I'm sold because I always because the thing is like I feel like dubs from this time period tend to be kind of a toss up. Either they are really really good because they just weren't really dubbing that much stuff, or they're really really terrible.
Yeah.
Let's get Chuck from the mailroom. Are you busy? Come on in. Let's get the secretary.
Here,
the temp.
pronounce this Japanese name for me, please.
Exactly.
Tenashis.
Exactly. So yeah.
Okay, my bison.
Yeah.
No, it's M.
It's like,
It's in English.
I'm reading Mabison here. I'm gonna go with that.
My bison. Yes, and Chun-Li.
There was a lot of that going on in the 90s. There really was.
Yeah.
Back and forth in the pronunciations. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one, I can't remember. Oh, you know what it was? We reviewed, it was Cardcaptor Sakura.
Oh, yeah.
Or Sakura.
Sakura.
Oh my gosh. And
Sakura.
and there were like some names that were switching back and forth in that dub, and we were like, whoa, what the hell is going on?
I mean, we
there?
still do that, like Naruto.
Yeah. It's true.
Naruto.
Yeah, they're always Yumi and Michelle are always getting on me for that pronunciation.
There's a right one and a wrong one.
Yeah, you've only said Ryu about 10 times
I
this
can't
episode,
stop.
I think, so.
But it's like it's so ingrained to like not pronounce that
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I know it, but I mean, if
Yeah.
everyone's like, it's Ryu, it's
Right.
Ryu for like 15 years, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's Ryu.
And then in the kitchen, Kyle's like, it's Ryu.
No, but it's okay because Taliesin Jaffe, who directed
Yeah.
the dub and he voices Blanca on the games, he told me it's not Hadouken, it's Hadoken.
Hadouken,
It's like
yeah.
okay, you say it's pronounced peanut butter jelly time. That's what I'm going to say. Check clears. All right, good. How's it pronounced? Yay!
Aw, I love Taliesin. He's
Yes.
great.
I'm
Shout
loving
out.
this. So
Yeah.
we've got an opportunity here and I love that Emma brings us up. We've got an opportunity to try to put a couple fighters together since we're talking fighting games.
Yes.
yeah.
We're going to talk a little Dream Fighter mashup.
Man.
This is an opportunity right here, and if you're in there with the chat with us,
Yeah.
By
what
all
Dream
means.
Fighter mashup would you guys like to see? Emma?
Like specifically Street Fighter or just like in general?
This is in general.
This
This
Oh,
is the fight.
man.
This is the Fight Club question.
Oh man, the Fight Club question. So how many like people do? Is it like a tag team tournament?
Oh
Like-
man,
This- I wanna leave
we
this
should actually
open.
narrow this down because it can't just be like Jesus versus Iron Man.
No. It's got to be. We're talking video game. We're talking
Right, like fighting
Video
games.
game fighting games.
Okay.
So,
Fighting games.
Dead or Alive,
Yeah.
Tekken,
Yeah,
Soul
yeah.
Calibur.
Soul
Calibur. If you want to throw in some Guilty Gear, if you know what that
Oh
is,
man,
by all
I
means.
have played Guilty Gear.
Guilty
oh,
Gear is great. It's
jeez.
one of my favorite fighting games ever.
If you like Blaze Blue, go
I was
Blaze
Blue.
Blue.
Like a big Soul Calibur person.
Yeah.
Me too. Soul Calibur 2. to
Yeah,
be exact.
dude. Yeah, dude.
I had the Spawn. I had the Xbox version.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the Dreamcast Soul Calibur.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I had
So
that as
good.
well.
Okay, so I feel like I want to have obnoxious as she may be, Sungmina from Soul
right.
Calibur.
Oh, yeah, Sungmina.
I totally mained her. And if I could have her in a tag team
What's your druthers?
with June from Tekken 2.
Sweet.
And then I want to say, not to sound like I'm brown nosing because Kyle's sitting right next to me, but like Ryu from Street Fighter, he is established as being that like main go-to guy. Like he is the prototype.
He is the prototype.
He is the prototype for
This man next to you is the
But
prototype.
you know
Yeah,
what?
me. This guy. What?
But you
All
know
right.
who I would love to see him fighting with is his direct rip-off from Ballerina Toshinden, AG.
I like that.
I just did like
That's
tag
pretty
teams.
great.
I don't know.
Every game has the Ryu ripoff, the Ryu Ken ripoff. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's true.
But AG
I would say-
and Cayenne were more blatantly rip-offs, I think, than any other pair.
If they're wearing a gi of any sort or a headband,
Yeah.
it's basically that. Or if they
Yeah.
have like a pose
Yeah.
where they're doing this. If their animation is this, they're probably right.
And they also do an uppercut and a fireball. Done.
Yep.
There you go.
Ashura
Whichever
in the chat says that she, I don't know which you are, so I apologize, would like a Guilty Gear versus Darkstalkers fight.
Darkstalkers!
I love Darkstalkers.
I'm so sorry, I
that's
forgot
such
about
a fun
Darkstalkers.
game.
Darkstalkers is like my favorite franchise.
And then Hassan Yosef wants Yoshimishu, Dalshim, and Melina, who I can only assume means Melina from Mortal Kombat.
I assume.
Who I also used to play as a lot when I was too young to be playing Mortal Kombat 2, but played it all the time.
In a 3-way fight, I like it.
And Mark in the booth says Morrigan versus Chun-Li.
Yep, I like that.
Hey, and
I
by
feel
the way,
like that's
there-
a pairing that's happened already, right?
Morgan versus Chun-Li?
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
happened
feel like it
in a
has.
game.
Marvel versus
Marvel versus Capcom.
Marvel versus
Oh,
Capcom.
that's true, yeah.
I think if you give it the full story treatment though, and do like pure evil versus pure good, it could be a lot of fun.
It could be a lot of fun. I would watch a movie about that. That would probably be a more interesting
Morgan
story.
isn't pure evil, by the way, though. She has a heart of gold.
She's a
rather than
succubus.
just voluptuousness.
Yeah, that's true. She is a succubus, essentially, though. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Well, by the way, if you haven't seen Darkstalkers, the anime, it's really cool.
Oh, the Darkstalkers
It
anime
is,
is actually
yeah.
really
You
good.
guys
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
Darkstalkers,
I remember
the
that.
show?
Yeah.
There was a show. I hadn't seen the show. It's just the one-shot movie I saw.
Pretty good stuff.
The one-shot movie is amazing. Like, the animation is great.
Yeah, it is.
And the show is, like, pretty janky,
It's
but
4
all right.
It was
Yeah.
4 VHS.
Yeah.
I have 4 VHS tapes of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the main, the boy that they have is just like some white kid with glasses, and he's supposed to be Merlin. Which I guess kind of fits, but at the same time, like, none of the characters do anything remotely even Japanese or fantastical. So
Reed Gibson in the chat says Yoshimitsu versus Blanca, which would just be like,
Yeah.
that's a fan service fight in a totally
Yeah.
different way than like girls fighting half naked after being in the shower.
Hey, how about Ryu versus anybody in Power Stone? Remember
Yeah,
Power Stone?
I was just about to
Good
bring up Power
reference.
Stone.
Yeah,
Actually,
I actually have my Dreamcast hooked up in my man cave, my garage. My man cave right now, Dreamcast
Good
with
on you.
Power Stone.
Oh,
Love
I
it.
still have it
Yeah.
as myself.
do you guys
Yeah.
do you guys
Love that
remember
game.
a
have it
little
on Vita,
game
too. Yeah.
called Urges?
oh yeah,
no.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
it's
Squaresoft fighting
No,
Fighting
I
game.
will
where you
say
can
this
play
though.
as Sephiroth.
And-
When I was
Tifa,
watching
and
that
Cloud.
Chun-Li shower scene, I was having urges.
Oh God!
that was
Get
bad.
out of here! You're banished from this land.
Good night, everybody.
Jesus.
Hello.
Oh man.
Yes. But one of my favorite characters on there, because his introduction is so dumb. It says, blessed by the hand of God, and then God and hand comes together and makes God hands. That's the whole character. His name is
Oh,
God
there
Hands.
he is. Oh
Yeah.
man.
How about
So
this?
ridiculous.
Makes
Gohan versus
masturbation
Ryu.
interesting.
Boom.
Gohan versus Ryu.
Yeah, right?
That's
yeah.
I mean, it's
What?
an unfair thing because Gohan, I feel like, would just obliterate.
Yeah,
Ryu.
yeah.
You
it
think?
would be,
It's
yeah.
like, fight you. I'm going to kill you.
But
Because
I
he's
feel
just
like
but he can fly
the
and
thing-
teleport.
I was
That's
gonna
true.
say though that but I feel like Gohan at one point in his career could have, but like
one
Like
point.
when he was a
at one
child.
Not
point.
GT.
But
Yeah.
not. Well, GT doesn't.
Yeah, but you know what? I tell you what. At the beginning
telling
of
you, it's
Dragon
canon.
Ball Super, Gohan is, he's not really fighting at
He's
all.
just
man.
like dadding it up.
Yeah,
I hear he's about to start training, though.
that's true. Actually,
So fingers crossed.
yeah, get ready for that. It is true, actually. He is trained by Piccolo in the what's it called? The zone hour is a year.
The hyperbolic.
Oh, the
time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hyperbolic Time Chamber, my favorite
Genius.
90s band. What?
How could I blank on that?
They're like a prog rock
man.
thing. You know?
That's great.
Yeah. And do we have any
was-
other matchups?
I don't know.
Yeah, Kyle, like, what's
Matchups?
Any other
matchups?
Mashup matchups, we'll call them.
Mashup matchups. So it's like, well, if you just take for video games, let's have Ryu take on Batman. Why not? You know,
Yeah.
you-
I'm okay with that.
Arkham Knight. You know, in oh my
That
god,
is
that's some
absolutely a
killer
good
stuff.
matchup because number one, Batman is first and foremost a ninja.
Yeah.
He is.
So
True.
a
He is.
ninja versus
Ninja,
traditional
take it on.
Japanese martial artist. I'm okay.
Ryu.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Christopher Walken is there too.
He is.
Nuts.
He's a
Nuts.
referee.
I can't believe it. Batman.
All right, let's do some favorite moments of this thing. Favorite moments.
Shower scene. No.
Oh, that's kind of the best part.
It is. I mean, it's.
The fight that follows that really is the best fight in the
It
movie.
really is.
I
Without a
think
doubt.
for me, one of my favorite moments is when Ken is driving with Eliza, and it's supposed to be like a really dramatic moment, but he's like, "Hey, Eliza, you want to get married?" And she's like, I don't know.
It's kind of like not the right time as we're driving in the middle of the road.
I love that he drives like a Porsche convertible, and he's supposed to live in Seattle. I'm like, that's a very irresponsible car choice.
That's right. The inside of that car is ruined.
Yeah. Oh, Ryu versus Deadpool.
Jeff in the chat suggests versus Deadpool.
Who said
why
it?
did
I
we
would
not-
say
That
I
was
want
Jeff.
M. Bison versus Deadpool. I feel like that'd be a good matchup. I don't know why. Just two crazy people.
Psycho Power
going
versus
at it.
Psycho.
Yeah, lots of red.
Yeah, well, who's the name of the person who did that? What's the name of that?
Jeff Birnbaum.
Jeff Birnbaum.
Oh, that's Jeff Birnbaum.
Yeah.
Shout out
Jeff
to
Birnbaum.
Jeff.
Yeah.
We know Jeff.
Yeah.
We do.
Dude.
I know Jeff.
Yeah,
I'd like
yeah.
to get to know you, Jeff.
Good on you, Jeff. Jeff
The coolest
Birnbaum.
fro in the industry.
Yeah, and I remember when I first met him, it was Jeff Birnbaum. I was like, dude, that is the coolest last name. Beer and Bomb. I was like, I love that name. Fantastic. Favorite
Fantastic.
moments.
It's crazy.
Nuts.
So that was a hilarious moment for me. And also, all the stuff that took place in Seattle, maybe it's just because I've spent a lot of time like in the Seattle area.
Oh, wait, is the whole thing raining? Because I'll be honest, I did not see this movie yet. I now want to.
It only rained once.
It only rains once, but
It's not Seattle.
But I
clearly.
also just love that like T-Hawk just randomly shows up in Seattle and like challenges Ken
Oh, that's right.
to a fight.
Right.
Like
it's in an alley or something.
Yeah.
Right? He just like comes out of the shadows and it's like this man that is literally dressed like a Native American racial stereotype.
Yes.
With like denim. Is just like in the corner waiting for Ken to be like, you should fight me right now.
But I will say that something I appreciated about this film, unlike the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, is that the
dare you,
majority
don't even
of
say
the
that.
fights in this movie actually take place in the street.
Yeah,
That's true.
They do.
Most
At least they were accurate about that.
Most of the fights in the Jean-Claude
Not
Van
like the
Damme movie.
lush backgrounds in the
Right.
game, like especially 5 right now. It's like there's a fruit stand and cheerleaders in the back
Yes.
and mountains and dinosaurs. I'm like, what's going on?
I was playing online, and I think it was my wife who was with me. She was watching for a second, and
Right.
or maybe I was watching someone play on, and she was like, "Is that a kid?" And like some guy's like holding his kid's hand, like watching the fight. I'm like, dude, don't take your kid to this.
This is pure entertainment. It builds character.
What's wrong with you?
I think the funny thing that you mentioned is, okay, so at the end, they meet on the top of the mountain, which I guess is dramatic, but like, the way that they introduce M. Bison's evil lair is like, it's like this Buddha head which splits open and reveals this evil base where he just has helicopters and stuff. It's like, why don't you have the battle there? Why did you pick a mountain? It just becomes totally anticlimactic. This is where you want to have your final battle.
I know. It's like instead of everyone going to M. Bison's evil lair,
They go to E Honda's shack. They go to E Honda's rundown shack.
And the first thing that Guile does is destroys the shack.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't even have that. It's like a flat plateau.
Guile-
Just
yeah.
like pointless nothingness around them.
He does a flash kick. He does a sonic boom. It misses and just flattens the shack a bit. The shack just goes. Like
I guess it's an odd creative choice too because it's animation. It's not
Yeah.
like you couldn't draw something more massive and epic.
I think
not a
it's a
budget choice.
budgetary issue.
But
like towards
really?
the end, I mean that doesn't really make sense to me either.
Yeah,
but
it
like
doesn't.
if I had to pick one thing, they'd be like, we can't animate more than like nothingness and flatlands.
And
they're
do.
like, okay.
Whenever someone falls off a cliff at the end, which happens like 4 times, they go into nothingness,
They,
and you'll
they
see
like,
them
they
land
like
later.
Team Rocket blast off
Yes.
again, and then you go ding, and you're like, what am I watching right now? What happened to this movie?
All right, my best moment is something that we talked about earlier. It's the end. Okay, so the movie is over. Everything's happy. And Bison's defeated. They double Hadouken him. By the way, I just realized you do a lot of characters who do this. A lot of characters who do that.
Gohan and Ryu.
Ryu,
So I have a
that's like your
headshot that I
thing.
bring to cons, and it's the same pose. It's like, which is that? And like,
it's whichever
like-
one you
and
want.
I
Whatever
feel
you want
I
it to
feel
be.
like who does no, I mean Jarvan does that. Graves does. Never mind.
Yeah.
But so at the end of the film. Ryu and Ken say goodbye to each other. Ken drives off with Eliza, and Ryu's walking down the street doing the Hulk walk.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna walk off and keep being alone.
He's doing the Hulk walk, and then out of nowhere, just totally random and bizarre. A big rig comes up on the road driving full speed at Ryu, and it's M. Bison driving a big rig and is gonna run his ass over. And Ryu turns around, sees it, and jumps up in the air, and that's our
the end of
ending.
it.
Well, it actually goes.
Wow.
Teaser. in Japanese, in the
It
Japanese
does, it
version.
does
And it's
do
like
that.
teaser, and you're
No.
like, wow, that, and then credits roll, and
Yep.
you're like, what
That
the hell
just
just
happened.
went on? Like, where did M. Bison get a semi? He has a helicopter. He has an evil lair. He just makes surveillance robots that are useless.
he could fly and teleport, but he wants to drive.
Has Bison played these games?
Yeah.
He's seen like beat up on cars. He could take a truck, no problem.
There's literally a scene.
It was a bonus stage. That was it.
Oh yeah, that's a little mini game. Yeah.
And Bison's in there, kick it to death.
All right.
It's ridiculous.
Well,
But it's
everyone,
the best part.
we have a little bit of time here. Wait, let's do a final rating on the film
Okay.
before. But everyone, I want to tell you guys in the chat, if you have any questions for Kyle, we want to give you guys an opportunity to ask him whatever you guys want to ask. Right now, you have this opportunity with this, fantastically talented man who is his talent is only eclipsed by how wonderful of a man he is. He's really enjoyable, you guys.
Checks in the mail.
It's true. It's true. Like he's always out for boba, and it's awesome.
All right, boba tea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
boba.
final rating before we get the questions.
Final rating. I am gonna say 3.5. It was pretty good. I agree. It sort of dragged, but the fight scenes were really good. They were really well animated, and and I liked it. I really want to go watch the English dub now because I need to hear that soundtrack.
Do you
you're
have to
gonna
use
love
a camp scale or just a general entertainment scale? Because you can enjoy something on a
This
camp
is true,
level
this is
and give it a
true.
5 out of 5.
Yeah,
But-
I was gonna say I feel like on a pure camp level, I would push this rating a little higher to maybe
Masterpiece?
like
There's some great.
4.5 because they still had these
Yeah.
weird, long, sweeping.
There was a lot of
establishing
parts where
shots.
it wasn't camp, and you're like, maybe you should have just gone camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max, what do you got?
I think I want to say it's a 4 because the fight scenes are basically gorgeous. I feel like they didn't. The only problem with having so many characters is like they don't really focus on the fights enough. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
So the fight scenes that I did see, which this whole movie was just fight scenes, give it a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, and the 1 is just everything else.
I'm gonna give it the Japanese a 3.5 for bad soundtrack and just not the most fantastic lines.
it really
dragged
is.
a bit more. I'm gonna give the American version a 4
Oh,
just
okay.
because everything popped more. It was a lot more fun. When you watch it, you're gonna really enjoy yourself a lot more than I think the Japanese version. So 3.5 for Japanese, 4 for American version.
All right.
Yay. Kyle, you gotta go watch this English version. You gotta watch the English
Apparently,
version.
I have my homework cut out for me.
Do we have any questions from
I
out
do.
there?
So there's a lot of people just basically singing Kyle's praises. Jeff Beardbaum says
you guys.
Kyle is the best and so much fun to direct. Ashra says Kyle showed up and did so much Skullgirl stuff for us when he wasn't
wait,
even
you
in the
did
game.
Wait.
Well, I actually did end
No.
up a couple of years
in
later.
Skullgirls?
I did
Yeah.
some bit part stuff in Skullgirls, but before that even came to pass, I helped with some charity stuff.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm a little
Showed up on the
sad that
stream.
you're not a skull girl.
I know.
I
I know. I'm
really
working
like
on
that.
it.
And Hassan Yosef in the chat asks if you could voice any character, who would it be?
Oh my God. Well, see, I would love to be like a Batman or something, but I don't want to take that from Kevin Conroy. I don't want to be compared to Kevin Conroy. So that's really tough. I would love to just have a new original character and be the voice for that thing with the next
Right.
SpongeBob,
Yeah.
the next big pop culture
Right,
animation
right.
sensation. So I can say, okay, no comparisons. That's me. I get to voice that guy or something, you know?
And this is more of a general question for everybody from Spanish_Heart18. Which is better, this or the first Mortal Kombat live action film?
Ooh. See, Mortal Kombat has a
are we
great soundtrack.
Are we
I'll give
comparing
it
live
that.
action movies?
Live action, we're comparing
we
live
do
action
live action
versus
movies
Oh
too.
my God.
this animated one.
I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna go with
Such a hard question.
I'm gonna go with the Street Fighter in the American version,
Okay.
the English version, and it's slim.
Wait, it's
it's
not the
real
live
close.
action.
It's
Yeah.
real close because I mean the nostalgia of that Mortal Kombat film was fun.
And
Yeah,
since
fun factor.
and since I was talking previously, where Kyle brought up the whole camp factor, God, you can't beat that first Mortal Kombat.
oh, it was so
And that was, I
campy
want to
bad.
say 94 as well, or maybe 95. It was
It was
pretty
95.
close.
It was
There we
95,
go.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Yes.
And people want to see the shirt that you're wearing, Kyle. I don't know
Oh,
if you
okay,
can,
let's check it out.
Kaiju
Yeah,
Crunch.
Kaiju Crunch.
Yeah.
So that
Pacific
game-
Rim love.
Love it.
That's great.
Kyle, before we take off, is there anything else you got coming up that you're allowed to talk about? Anything like that you want to throw out there?
Man.
Anything you know? I know you do a lot of like podcasting and vlogging things. We could let us know where we could find you.
Well, I have a final episode of the Big Bald Broadcast, which is my geek news podcast with my friend Otherworld Steve. We have recorded our final episode, which will be edited and posted soon, within the next couple of weeks, where we finally reviewed Force Awakens. We wanted to get this up sooner, but darn life getting in the way of fun. But basically, everything comes out, and then I promote it on social media. It's like, don't talk about Fight Club until Fight Club's out. It's like, so I couldn't even talk about Street Fighter until the release date. So now that it's out there, go get Street Fighter on PS4 and for PC, and you can get all that stuff. If you want to see me in person, I'm going to be at Anablaze in Atlanta here in a couple weeks. Also, Anime Milwaukee. I've got different things lined up for this year. Anime Detour in Minneapolis, St. Paul, A-Kon in Dallas. You want to check the appearance page on KyleAbear.com. You can see that. And of course, if you don't have me lined up for your local convention, just go to animecons.com and pick your local one and email them and say, I want Kyle here. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Awesome.
Busy life.
Yeah, it's funny talking about the whole like NDA thing. So my very dear friend Bonnie Gordon is the voice of Armika in Street Fighter.
Yes, I was kicking her ass today.
And,
Lauren Landis, Karen.
I knew Lauren was Karen. But
Yep.
Bonnie, for whatever reason, her casting info had leaked before like the game. So I'm finding out as of yesterday when the game came out. I'm like, oh, I know like a solid 70% of this cast, but like I only knew for sure about Bonnie. So
yeah, cast list gets out there and like no one can confirm because it's like I can't say anything.
Exactly.
All right, Kyle, tell everyone lastly where they could find you.
Okay, on Twitter at Kyle Hebert. That's KyleHebert. Please tweet at me soon.
Emma, any plugs?
Just follow me on Twitter at Emma Fife. You can also follow me on Instagram at Emma Fife. I do a whole bunch of shows at our sister network, AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm on the after show for Agent Carter, Star Wars Rebels, Face Off. We just wrapped up Ruby today. Transformers Robots in Disguise is coming back. So, if you follow me on Twitter, I tweet about all those things. Also, be sure to check out my Sailor Moon podcast, Love and Justice, a serious Sailor Moon podcast. You can find it in the iTunes store. If you look up Sailor Moon in the podcast section of the iTunes store, I'm pretty sure we are the second result that comes up now.
Yeah. Love and Justice.
Claps.
Max.
I clearly need to have more things. But you can find me on all forms of social media, Facebook, all that stuff. Tumblr at Super Attack You. Super Attack You.
Yes, and of course, my name is Jonathan Messer. You can find me at KaibaCat in all the social media forums. The thing to enjoy right now is we've got a stream going right now. We've got Man Cave Gaming. We got myself and another friend. We've got our streaming channel going, MANKAVE, Man Cave Gaming, all one word. And you can see me playing Street Fighter probably tonight and over the next few months.
Nice.
Check us out at Man Cave Gaming, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's all the time we have. That's
Yay!
it. So I don't know what we're doing next week. Emma, you taking the lead next week? You taking it over for us?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got some plots. I've got some ideas. I'll tweet it out when we
this is exciting.
nail it down.
All right, well, Emma's going to hold it down for us next week, you guys. Thanks for being here with us. Thank you again, Kyle Hebert.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you guys next Thursday, 9 p.m.